Let's get raw, let's get real, let's get vulnerable. In this video, we're going to break down the 7 lessons that I've learned from generating over 7 figures online with organic traffic. Okay, this is kind of a cozy feel. I'm not going to have these lessons be in any which way, form, or order. I just really want this to be like a nice sit down, let's drink some tea or cold water in a water bottle, and let's have a discussion about this, because over the past 7 years now, it's kind of crazy. 7 years. I've learned a whole lot about business, the world of online funnels, generating low ticket sales, high ticket sales. But in this video, I kind of want to wrap it into how it's evolved into who I am, who I was before, and the differences. And let's just get into it. I think the very first thing that I learned is that my mindset, I hate the word mindset, but let's call it my mind growth, my beliefs, my group of thoughts back then, back in 2017, 2018, up until present day now, has been completely different. My thoughts back then about how to approach business and relationships and growth and making money, etc., were very hustle grind mentality, in that it was still very much rooted in the old beliefs that I used to have, where I strongly believe that in order to produce something worthy and worthwhile, you had to really grind and work hard for it. There came a point where I was like, oh yeah, no, you can make passive income and this and that. But my roots were so deep in, like, if I didn't work 10 hours per day, I didn't feel accomplished. It was very unhealthy. And so in the beginning, and I think honestly, this came from when I first got started online. Like, it was my very first year, I did e-commerce. So I had an online store on Shopify, and I did that for an entire year, and I invested horribly that year. I had the super shiny object syndrome. And I invested in all kinds of mentors, trainings. It was embarrassing and insane. Like, I invested, over $50,000 in really money I didn't have. And so all that to be said was, I had no idea of time management. I just thought like work was the way to be extremely successful. I had no clue and concept of what systems mean and leveraging other people and resources to help me grow my business. It was kind of chaotic, but it was like the right place where I had to be. I guess the first lesson is that I appreciate all the mistakes I made and the thoughts that I had back then versus what I have now. And I don't put judgment onto those things, okay? I just appreciate what it was and who that Marissa was back then. And I think it's beautiful, all of the mistakes that I've made, instead of getting down on myself and, going into this loophole of, oh, I would have been further along if, or I should be making this amount of money, and because so-and-so has made way more money in 4 years and look at how much I've made in 7 years. Like, just accepting the journey and just claiming it as beautiful, no matter what happened in the past. And I would say the biggest lesson out of all of this is that your business is going to reflect the BS and the head trash that's between your ears, and your fears and all of the resistance and limiting beliefs that you've put on yourself. So everything that you're feeling inside, whether that's imposter syndrome or fear of where the next check is going to come from, or maybe you're panicking because your business is showing a lot of contrast and you're not making as money as you did the last month. Whatever it is, your traumas and your limiting beliefs are going to spill out and create your reality, no matter how hard you try to fight against it. For example, there was a point in time in my business where I felt on top of the world, and my identity was all about being a YouTuber and getting, YouTuber famous and all of this stuff, and being proud that I had created the success in the niche that I did and being known for something. And then when all of that got taken away, I went into the biggest, craziest spiral of my life, and it reflected out into my business more and more, because I wasn't accepting the lesson that God, because I believe in God, that God super intelligence, your higher power, however you label God, that God was trying to teach me, and like, hey, you know what, you are not your business, you are not your name, you are not this identity, you are not anything, so stop it, and heal all of these crazy beliefs that I glorified, okay? Because I used to think that there was some salvation in the future, like if I, once I hit this milestone, then I'll be happy. Once we travel to XYZ, then we'll be, then I'll be able to vibrate high and be super happy and feel accomplished. Like it was always this formula of like, once this happens, then I'll be happy, at peace, this and that, have this fulfillment, etc., which was such the wrong approach. And not to say that I still don't suffer from that, but when I had my spiritual awakening during this journey, and it all made so much sense while I was fighting so hard to save my business and to turn things back around, which leads me to my next lesson, is that it is not about marketing strategy, like creating 7 figures online. And let me just clarify, like I am not sitting here like saying that I'm a millionaire. Like, no, I crossed the 7-figure mark probably 3.5 years into my journey, because I had some really great years and I was able to, generate 7 figures all from organic traffic. And so I haven't had that 7-figure year yet, but of course that is in the works. And then now looking back, I know exactly why I haven't had my 7-figure year yet, because I had to learn the spiritual foundations and do the inner work in order to be able to receive the abundance of the universe properly and to scale this thing with clarity, conviction, and peace, right? And surrender, and be able to truly appreciate all the things that I have now, be able to live in the present moment. And so anyways, going back to part 3, or I don't know what lesson, I'm spitting out a lot, so I've probably already talked about 10 things. But one lesson that stands out a lot is that marketing and your success in online business is 80% spiritual, 80% mindset, right? And only like 10 to 20% strategy. You can invest in all the programs you want. You can invest in the coaching mentors, the scaling, the automation, the this, the that, because you're thinking that they're going to be your salvation to your next problem and have the latest and greatest strategy. And this is not to say like investing in a program isn't good because you want to implement a certain expertise that you don't have. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you get into desperate mode and you start investing into the next best thing, the next best, this is the next DM funnel mini chat strategy, and I need to do these paid ads, and you're just like in panic mode, like trying to put out fires. When you're operating in that frequency of lack and fear and scarcity, ooh, baby, the universe is going to give you so much more of it. And you're just going to keep tumbling down, right? Until you finally take a step back and be like, look, I'm okay in accepting of what's not happening and the contrast that I'm seeing, because I know that with the results that I'm not seeing yet, I'm getting more and more clear on my desire. And so when you finally stop operating in anxiety and fear in day to day and just give into what is and enjoy the beauty and start giving gratitude to all the wonderful things that you have now, because no matter what's going on in your life right now, you have so many things, so much abundance to be grateful for. Okay. My family and my health, there's power in that. Okay, there's so much power in that, because when you think like, oh man, like, I'm so much in debt again, or I have to start over, or maybe like you have to even get a job or part-time job to supplement to get the business back up and running. Like wherever you are in your journey is your game plan to getting to your ultimate destination, right? To getting to those desired income levels and rebuilding. And so that's the next thing I learned, is that the universe, God, your life is going to test you and stress test you over and over to teach you different lessons, right? To teach you different lessons about love, about relationships, about being a mother or father. And that is perfectly okay. And the beauty in that is that whatever lesson that you're learning at this point in time is the best lesson for you. And no matter how negative it might sound, or no matter how negative it might feel in the moment, you got to give gratitude for it. Like, let's say you're in Phoenix, Arizona, okay, and you put in the GPS that you want to go to San Diego, California, okay, and you all of a sudden end up in Yuma, which is halfway between Phoenix and San Diego, and you bitch and complain about, wait, wait, why am I in Yuma? Like, I'm not in San Diego yet. Like, I'm trying to get to San Diego. I'm trying to get to San Diego. But it's like, hey, wait a minute. Like, this stop in Yuma is necessary to get to San Diego. And then you're like, oh, okay, right. And so whatever you're going through right now is your stop in Yuma to getting to your ultimate destination. Okay. Because what I also learned is that when you have a dream of accomplishing this one thing and it doesn't manifest the way you expected, there's always a bigger and greater way and an alignment that's coming to you, that the universe, that God is trying to unfold and show you. But by you bitching and moaning and like having all this resistance and everything, that's just prolonging what is coming your way. Okay, so I had to talk so much about the spiritual and the mindset because guys, like this, that is just like 100% the truth and what is the most important in any of this. In any aspect of life. Okay, so moving on to the next lesson is that there's no such thing as making mistakes. There's this notion that we waste time, that we make mistakes and all this and that. And here's how I perceive mistakes and wasted time. It's like, that's only like, if you think about waste and things that don't work out in the real world, like when you think literally about waste, it's like, okay, what is waste? Waste is something that fertilizes the soil, that helps improve the soil, that helps things plant, or that helps other plants and living things grow, so that when the seed is planted in the fertilized soil, which is composed of waste, then it grows even more beautifully. So there's no such thing as a mistake. It's always a lesson to learn. Like every time I catch myself thinking like, oh, well, that was a waste, I'm like, wait a minute, no, that was something I created or a resource that I can use in the future. So for example, if I do a live webinar and no one shows up, typically somebody would be like, oh, well, that was a waste of time, no one was there. It's like, no, I just created a piece of content that I could sell, right? I could sell in a future course, that I could leverage as a lead magnet, that I could use as a freebie. And now I have this thing, this asset, that if I wanted to do it again, I already have a practice round of going through the webinar. So it's never a waste. All right. Ever, ever, ever. And same thing with mistakes. Like if I think about all the mistakes I've made in the past, I'm like, I wouldn't go back in time and change them, because they were things that I had to do, I had to learn, okay? That it's data that I can use in different areas of my life. And the next lesson I learned, which is kind of like more so strategy, is that you have to have a full product suite of things. Meaning you have to have not only low ticket, mid-ish ticket, and high ticket, so that people can buy from you at all different levels. And you really have to have that foundational, that foundation of all different types of products in order to truly scale the business. And I went back and forth. So my first 4 years in business, I sold nothing over $1,000, like a product. I think the most I raised it was to 1,500. Then all of a sudden I went from that to like charging 15,000, 6,000 and 15,000. And I learned high ticket sales, which was amazing. And it was something that I was super scared to do. And back my first 4 years, I believe I definitely left money on the table by not charging higher ticket, because I was just scared. I'm like, who would ever pay me more than $2,000 to work with me? A lot of people. Okay. And but then I think what happened when I started to charge high ticket was that I focused so much on trying to scale the higher ticket products that I totally forgot about my digital products and lower ticket items, and I didn't sell them, and I lost money, because I didn't have any downsells. Like if people were like, well, do you have anything lower that I could buy? I was like, no, because what happened was I migrated all my stuff off of Kartra onto WordPress. And I was like, okay, I didn't have time, or I told myself, I made up the lie, I didn't have time to reorganize my back end digital products, my lower ticket products. And so I didn't have any downsells. So that really sucked. So I wasn't able to take advantage of those people who were really interested in working with me, but couldn't afford to do the higher levels. So I could have made $300 sales, $1,000 sales, and offered something lower. And so going into this new year, the first thing that I did was rebuilt my digital products, which I'll link the video. It's up here, and I'll talk about that, link that video in the show notes. But how I built out really quickly a $47 product, a $197, and a $497 offer, which is, they're all going to funnel into a community. So that's another thing I'm going to do. But yeah, that's a big lesson learned, is like, you can't ignore your low ticket items and just focus on high, and you can't just have high. Like, it's all one cyclical thing, right? In one organism, you need all three, in my opinion. So, and then the next thing is the biggest, another huge, there's so many lessons. There's like 30 of them. But I would say like another big thing I want to emphasize is this notion of not having enough time. And the lesson being that it's always a yes and equation. Yes, I can incorporate this and have my family time as well. Yes, I can start producing content on YouTube. Yes, I can start charging high ticket. Yes, I can incorporate this new task or whatever it is. And I can make time to meditate, go to the gym, have time for my loved ones and son and all of that, all in the one container of time. Because what I realized that is, once you make a decision to do something that you really want to do and stop BSing and using the excuse, oh, I don't have time, life will reorganize itself in a way that will allow you to do just that. It'll allow you to get all the things that you thought you couldn't get done within that 6-hour time frame, right? In the same container of time. And it all starts with one decision. And this can apply to anything, because right now I think that one limiting belief I have is I think that I can't sell high ticket without a sales call. And so how am I shifting my narrative to be like, yes, I can make high ticket sales with an automated funnel. I can do it. So many people have done it. So once I cross that line into teetering and like, oh wait, can I really do this? Can this really happen? To yes, this is absolutely going to happen. Then guess what? My reality in the universe is going to arrange that for me. So hopefully this was helpful. If you found it helpful, check out this video right here where I talk about how I designed a low ticket offer to make me high ticket sales, where I break down the anatomy of how I put together one of these products that I mentioned in this video from beginning to end. That video starts right here and coming up next.